Well, we're very lucky that from Dampier in Western Australia, which you can see on that map right now, we have two wonderful ladies who are genuine community builders and both not sort of third generation locals. One is originally from Ireland, the other originally from the east coast of New South Wales near the Ballina area. One is a nurse and a mother and a passionate cook. The other is a mother of three kids who moved to Dampier with her husband's job. Both of them have held the title. In fact, one right now holds the title of President of the Dampier Community Association, and the former president has now become a councillor on the Karratha Shire Council. So please join me in welcoming to the Community Builders program here Jill Furlong and Georgia Evans.
Hi everyone.
Good afternoon.
We're just amazed at how many people are there and on the chat line and where you've come from all over Australia and all over the world. So thanks for joining in today and listening to our story. As you can see, Dampier is that little blue dot on the map of Australia there, and we're part of the city of Karratha. We're kind of a bit of a seaside village, if you like. Our main commercial centre is Karratha, which is about a 20 minutes drive away. To get to Dampier, you need to come from Perth, which is a 2-hour flight away, to give you an idea of how far away, or we're an 8-hour drive south of Broome. Dampier was originally established in the 1960s by Hammersley Iron as a port town for iron ore. And really when they built most of the houses here, we're about 1,300 people now, they didn't really expect the houses to still be here. And pretty much since that time, we haven't really had a lot of housing development. The houses that were built then are still very much the houses that are here now. We're kind of constrained in terms of growing our population because we are still on a mining lease, although some of that is changing with community facilities moving over to our local council. But pretty much our population has been pretty static, and it will likely be. So we thought we've got a few photos here to show you a bit about Dampier. So last year we opened up our new foreshore development. Up until about 2016, a lot of our community facilities, and we're so lucky to have lots, and that's kind of a bit of a legacy of being a mining town. We have a local tennis club, a squash club, football club, bowls club. But at the end of last year, we opened up our new foreshore, which has just, this is of the opening night, those fireworks there, which has just kind of changed our entire beachfront, which gets really utilised a lot, both in terms of the Dampier beach, and we're also a bit of a gateway to the archipelago, which has about 42 islands, which are famous for both fishing, boating, generally visiting the beach. So here you can see our foreshore, a bit of an aerial view, and then our town is located back up the hill, unfortunately, out of these photos. Bit more of our foreshore. So at the start, I guess we started to do events a bit more formally back in 2013, where we were lucky enough to work with Peter Kenyon and the Bank of Ideas in terms of formalising our Dampier community plan. And it was at that point that we kind of realised that not only were our community events really important to people because of a sense of community pride and developing social connections, but we actually kind of already had the basics of some annual events, and it's really since that time that they have grown. But we are a largely transient population, and as a result, it's pretty rare to have people have extended family or grandparents here to look after kids. So our community events really kind of started as a sense of enable people to have that social connection with each other, because friends really are family here in Dampier. And then after I stepped back from the presidency of the Dampier Community Association in 2017, and Jill came on as president, under her tenure, the events have just absolutely grown, and she's been able to bring in new and exciting events and also make our annual events more self-sustainable as well.
Thank you. A little bit of history about the GCA. It was established back when the town was initially developed back in the late 60s by Hammersley Iron, which were the company who ran the town at the time. And the association was established to manage the recreational events for the town, so making the town more livable. So I think that's where our history has come from, because of the tyranny of distance. And we are quite a young town. We have a lot of young families. And as Georgia said, we don't have a lot, as you can tell from my accent, this is not my home. This is not where I grew up. It is most certainly my home, but it's not where I grew up. A lot of us don't have family or relations. So our community is our family. So building these events and the connection is vital for, I think, everybody who lives here. So by having these annual events, establish the connection with our town folk, and that was hugely important for us. So back in 2013, when Peter came, the guys did this extensive community consultation that went on over,
it was about 6 months. Yeah.
to see what people wanted, what made life here in Dampier, more livable, more exciting, and wanted them to set their roots here. And some of these events came from that consultation. So it's not the DCA deciding, oh, let's put on these events because it sounds fun. It's what the community wanted. And so that's the history of how these events got established, really. So will we run through the photographs? Sounds like a good idea. So the first one here, we have this beachside market. So they have been running now since 2015.
Is it 2013?
2013. Sorry about that. So they've been running since 2013, and they are a huge event on our calendar. Every year we run nine markets a year. Now we run morning markets during the winter months, and then we run evening markets, twilight markets in the warmer parts, because we do have incredibly hot weather up here. And we've just, at the moment, we have pretty much 1,500 to about 2,500 people come to these market, with about 60 local stall holders, which is fantastic. So it's not just for Dampier, it's for the whole city of Karratha, which reaches out to Karratha, our adjacent towns, to Roebourne, to Wickham, to Point Sampson, but also to our tourist base, because in the winter months we have a lot of the transient population, a lot of the grey meds come through. So we have a lot of those guys also come visit our markets. And they're very, well loved and well established event on our calendar. We'll move to the next one, please.
Probably also about the beachside markets is that they are really kind of well known for supporting local home-based businesses. I think DCA has got like a really good reputation now of supporting local businesses, both home-based and small bricks and mortar. And the DCA has also been really clever at each of these markets. You guys make sure that you have your own stall so that community members can come and talk to you. It also helps that they can sell merchandise like beer stubby holders, shirts. And then you've always find ways to use your funding, which I think is really clever, to make sure you've got like jumping castles for the kids.
We do free face painting. We also encourage community groups to have a little stall at these markets. So, the school will run cake stalls or sausage sizzles. The fireys help us with pack up and pack down, and we pay them a little fee so that they're involved as well with this event. So
And you change the fees for so local community groups are free or a lower price?
No, they're free.
They're free.
But even the actual commercial stall holders, it's not an expensive market to it. I think we're $45 for a little site, which is really, it doesn't then impact the stall holders if they don't have a selling day, but it does mean that they will still come to the event.
Yeah. And there's also get a little bit of City of Karratha government funding to help with some of the, not so much to set up and cut down, but that pays for your face painting and the kids' rides. And
it pays for the lighting in the twilight markets, which is obviously probably one of the biggest costs really for us.
So the next one is the sunset movies.
And again, these have been running since those consultations, and we run 4 movies a year. We do have a wonderful established arts precinct in City Karratha, but this is one of the, let's say, a family event that it probably draws a couple of hundred people to every movie. And it's not a new movie we run. We run a relatively recent release movie, but we often invite food trucks or food vendors to come. So again, that's giving them the opportunity. But people bring their own blankets, and it's just, again, it's a really nice event for the community. And it's not just for Dampier. We have quite a few people who come out from Karratha, from the city, just to sit by the beach and enjoy a movie. It's usually finished by about 8 o'clock, so it's not a late night. It really is a family event.
And once it kind of proven itself as a bit of a local community event, the City of Karratha Council got behind it and built an actual permanent movie screen.
Yes.
And that helped a lot because obviously the issues that
wind
and so forth with the temporary screen. I think the fact that it's remained a free event as well has, even with the opening of a local cinema in Karratha, it's still maintained its popularity.
This is our annual Citizen of the Year Awards, and this has been running now since 1979, and it's a really important feature on our calendar. It's where we say thank you to the doers in our town, and I think this is a hugely important it's a huge achievement for us as a community. Last year we had 28 people nominated from our community, and in that it was 22 different bodies, so groups, associations and clubs, nominated people in their own personal organizations to get the thank you. And this is, there's a lot. This is quite a difficult one in lots of ways from our point of view, because we do a lot of shoulder tapping. Please nominate your doers. Please nominate your doers. And often I sit down with people, and it does take quite a long time, and write the actual nominations even with them, but it's very important to say thank you from our point of view, from an association point of view. And it's simple as the soccer coach who does it, every week, twice a week, he trains a team. So, every association and every club and every group has their doers, and without thanking these doers, volunteering is quite thankless in itself. So it's a very established event in our calendar now. It's very well represented, and we're really excited that we have, all these different groups and clubs who want to be involved. And it was, as I said, it was a lot of legwork initially. It kind of changed about maybe 5 years ago, and we started approaching people as opposed to waiting for people to come to us. So we do actually go and say, hello, you've got who stood out in your organization this year. And people go, oh, well, this person, that person. So, and it's really, it's well worth the groundwork, I think, for this event.
I think once people actually come to the night, a lot of those volunteers don't really realise the impact that they've made, or the contribution that they've done. And it's sort of only in doing that recognition that the DCA does that people are able to kind of reflect and say both personally, but also the clubs too, to say, oh wow, yes, those people really have done a lot, sort of thing.
And social media has really helped on this, because we've run stories on each person. So people are embarrassed, obviously, because they don't want to see themselves in light. But a lot of people, we often focus on our own little organization and don't know what people do in each other's organizations. So it was nice to have the social media aspect of that. So we could say, this is Georgia and she's involved with blah, 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 blah. And people go, wow, oh my gosh, these people do amazing work, and they definitely deserve to be thanked. So it's been I think it's been a really positive asset to our community, really.
Definitely.
The Billy Cart, I think, is a good an example of very passionate people who have come into our community and have come onto our association and established an event that they love. So it's basically was initially 3 families who went out to Marble Bar and they saw a Billy Cart event, and it was fantastic fun. And they said, well, we can do one of these in our town. So that's exactly what they did. So they joined the community association as a subcommittee, and have ran the Billy Cart for 4 years. Obviously this year it hasn't run because of COVID, but it's been an amazing event. It draws a huge crowd, but it gives you an idea of just a very, a small, passionate group of people can bring their vision to life with the backing of a bigger organization like the association.
Yeah, and I think DCA has been really clever at how you've organised your auspicing of your subcommittee groups for that funding. So it's not always left to DCA committee members to do everything. You really kind of leverage the passion of other community members and get them to, organise what it is that they're interested in and make it happen. But yeah, as you say, have that support and then back it up with funding, which is even more important. Well,
because we're only, there's 14 people on my committee. So we all have different ideas of what we want and what we love. So when somebody comes to us with a new idea, we would do everything we can to support them to go forward with that idea rather than us doing it. We will support them, we will auspice them, we'll write grants for them, but it's their baby. So if we can help them to bring it to fruition, I think that's an amazing achievement.
And that's just a little one of us there at the end. They asked for a photo of Jill and I, and that was the only one that we could dig up where we were both actually in it. But actually that is another amazing event that the DCA organised. So for the 50th anniversary, was it the 50th anniversary of DCA, not
DCA,
Dampier?
yeah.
We've had 2 different 50th anniversary celebrations in the last few years. We actually commissioned some playwrights from Perth to write a play after coming up to Dampier and interviewing, young people and old people and everybody about, what Dampier meant for them and a little bit about our history. And they just wrote this amazing play that was had 2 presentations, both to kids and then a sort of a cabaret night for adults. And so this photo was taken on the cabaret night, and we had a local artist, Monty, who is on the far right of that photo, also do the set design. So we're standing in front of her paintings there. And the person sitting next to Monty is Kate. So another example of DCA really leveraging off the passion of community members, because Kate was all about youth and the arts, and she was really heavily involved in having this play commissioned. So it's not only your annual events, it's also the number of ad hoc events you've done in response to 50th anniversaries, and also, just the local passion of different community members that have been on the committee over the years.
Yep.
And that's probably really us.